Thank you very much.
Good evening,
Thank you.
everybody. I'd like to call this meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals of Village Monroe to order. Would everybody please rise and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And we're recording?
What?
I just want to make sure we're recording. Okay, good.
Looks like it.
I assume so.
I think it starts at.
We don't do that. I mean, Andrew does it.
Oh, okay.
Remotely.
I don't know how to do that. Okay. Okay, just for the record, I'd like to welcome Christine Callanan as our new ZBA secretary. Good luck and keep your minutes brief, as we discussed.
Keep your minutes brief.
All right, the first application is 15 Park Avenue, the continuation of the public hearing and the application of Abraham Levy on behalf of 15 Park Avenue LLC for an area variance from the FAR law, section 200-24(1)B, to permit construction of a single-family dwelling which will exceed the maximum floor area ratio by 1,927 square feet. 1,538 square feet is the maximum permitted, and they're proposing 3,465 square feet, which will have less than the minimum lot area of 10,000 square feet. 5,698 square feet proposed, less than the minimum lot width of 100 feet, 56.85 feet proposed, less than the minimum rear setback of 35 feet, 23.9 feet proposed, and less than the minimum side setback of 15 feet, 7.1 feet proposed, and less than the minimum total side setback of 30 feet, 18 is proposed, and more than the maximum lot coverage of 25%, 42% is proposed. The property is located in SR10 zoning district, identified as tax lot 202-2-11.1 on town of Monroe tax map, and is known as 15 Park Avenue.
Good evening, everybody. Mitchell Mayor.
Oh yeah, before we start, just if you recall, Mr. Gilstrap has recused himself in this application because he's a local neighbor, and Ad hoc Ben Rose had been appointed to serve and will continue to serve with regard to this application. So,
Before we start, I just wanted to make sure that there's been based upon the conversation we had 2 months ago, which really came down to lot side coverage and the size of the home. My client was able to, make additional decisions and provide different documentation to the board here to review. Reducing the square footage from approximately 3,300 square feet down to 2,500 square feet.
okay, let's start with the first thing. I do recall that per Jim Cox, he said that you do not need variances for lot area, lot width, side yard, or total side yard.
That's
Correct? Okay, so we're only talking about to exceed the FAR by 1927 square feet, rear setback, side setback, no, FAR and rear setback. Oh, you still need the side setback, total side setback, and lot coverage. Okay.
Correct, and with that new filing, I believe that those dimensions have changed also.
Okay, so why don't you walk us through this new plan and tell us?
I'm sorry, I think it's just the three, the FAR, rear setback, and lot coverage.
What about side setback?
Jim's memo.
He said, oh,
indicated
no side yard, okay, he's talking about side yard, side setback, they're the same, got it.
Correct.
So that's out, so it's the three. FAR, rear setback, and lot coverage.
Correct, and
Okay.
before going forward, my understanding, we had gotten a decision from the Orange County Department of Planning. I believe that should be entered to the record, also stating that it's the local determination of whether or not they wanted to make the approval, but they had no objections to whatever the local determination would be.
Let's see.
That was provided by the chairman to me prior to the last meeting. Well, the meeting got canceled due to the reduction of the.
I don't see it in the file. I
I'll-
sort of recall that.
Yes, there was a local determination, we
Okay.
stated in November.
All right, so we'll just note for the record that we did receive a review from the Orange County Department of Planning, remanding the matter for local determination, so Mitch, you can take that back. So we'll note for the record, GML remand for local walk us through this updated plan here.
Correct. I'm not sure if everybody has the plan. It would have been copies we provided to the board. It's showing the new dimensions and the new proposal, which is the 2,500 square foot, two-story dwelling. What we're showing here, on the rear side, along with the existing dwelling, there's, besides the size of the new proposal, that it's coming very close to fitting what is actually there. If we do move forward, and got the approval, we'd be removing the house that is there and placing a two-story home up there. Each story would be approximately 1,250 square feet, and it would fit with a rear, with what's there now, it's 31.2 feet, I believe, actually, it's about 30 feet to the rear back there. Now, I think that would stay the same. There would be no change in what right now is a non-conforming with the house that is there. Do you have that, Paul? Are you looking?
Yeah, we have a bunch of them that I guess we'll file on, I guess.
Oh, wonderful, thank you.
This big plan. Do we have any more than the three? No, we don't. That's all right. Okay.
Can we share, is that okay?
Absolutely. Ah, okay.
Let's look at the old one. Okay.
Like I said, right now, the house is not conforming. However, if you take a look at where the house is existing today, it meets that 30 feet in the rear, which is one of the issues that we have here, that I think we're then looking for,
Oh,
keeping that.
excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, can you speak into the mic?
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was covering it or
Yes.
not.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Okay, so the existing house,
approximately 30 feet from the back end to the rear. And that house right now has,
let's just look at it for a second. The
Okay.
existing house is 30.9 feet from the rear property line. Okay, existing house is 30.9 feet. And the new proposal is 30 feet.
that's correct.
New is 30 feet. So we're talking about a 0.9 variance there. Right?
That's correct.
Okay, the existing square footage of the house, we said was,
Currently, it was,
Existing square foot,
I believe it's approximately over 1,200 square feet, consistent right now, correct? 1,200 and?
building height, doesn't say square footage. Oh, there it is, okay. You got lot width, lot area, lot coverage. It doesn't show buildings, square footage, floor area.
Oh, it used to go on the,
I thought they would put that in the bulk, but
I believe it's 1,258.
it's existing 1,258 square feet. And the new project is
2,500.
2,500. And before, it was 3,465.
That's correct. We've reduced it by almost 1,000 square feet based upon the comments from the board.
And the maximum you're allowed to go is 1,927 square feet.
That's correct.
So you're over by 397.
962, I believe.
yeah, but listed on, I see, additional variance.
I thought the
yeah.
maximum was
It's not easy.
1,538.
They had it written down here as a note.
The maximum floor ratio, oh yes, is 1,538, that's correct.
Oh.
You're still,
It's gonna
you're still
exceed it.
1,000 over.
Yeah,
We're still 962 square feet, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's
so,
what they got.
so it's 1,538. So you're, what are you over?
I believe from my
962.
documents, 962 square feet.
962 square feet over max.
That's what they got in the note, they put it all this way.
Okay. So let's talk about numbers here, because I know we did this last time. You are allowed to have a FAR of how much? 0.27. And what is it now?
They don't say what existing is.
Okay, so let's do the math.
Yeah. It would be nice if you had the table more complete next time.
Let's do the math.
Told that, Mike.
Which is always a bad thing when you ask a lawyer to do math, because,
You're correct.
so you've got, 2,500, and you divide that by the total lot area, which is 742.
I thought it was 5698. Existing lot size? Is that what we're talking about now?
Yeah.
It's, on this document, it's
Let's see.
5698.
Existing, yeah, 5698? What?
That was
Right here.
42, lot area.
Oh, then we got numbers that are all over.
That's the top number where it says existing, under the column existing.
What about on this document that says
Oh.
56?
He's looking at some kind of a, huh, I didn't see that one.
Looking at the bulk dimensions, your lot area, 5,698,
So I think
as
that was
proposed.
based on
You're referencing Jimmy Cox's memo.
application, and then since then we got the survey showing, so this survey indicates it's
Oh, I got you.
5742.
Now, okay, so 5742?
So that's right. His was an old
So
data.
am I correct?
Yeah.
So it's 2,500 divided by, what did we say it was, 5742?
742.
So that's a
43.
proposed of 43.345 FAR proposed.
Wait, point 435.
.435, what did I say?
345.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic.
It's okay.
435. Okay. Let's see, what else we got now? And then the other one was the development coverage, right? And the development coverage, you're allowed 25%, you were proposing 42%, and now what is it down to? Lot coverage.
Coverage.
Existing 33, you're down to
30.
30%? Is that correct?
Would be correct.
I mean, oh yeah, because this is, even though they're getting rid of the deck, there's still this much area.
So then development coverage now is actually less than it was on the existing house? Am I reading that right?
That's according to their numbers, if that's correct.
I,
30%, 33,
Your
25.
bulk table shows that your lot coverage was 33% existing, and now you're reducing it to 30%.
that lot coverage, that included the deck and included the,
I'm saying there's no,
concrete
there-
pad?
there's, the work is not being shown, so we don't know what the, how the,
Correct.
where the numbers came from. There's no table.
Yeah, what's the date of this plan? What was that submitted again? This morning.
Oh, this one.
11/25, okay.
Good God, it just did.
All right. Because we didn't have a new review done by the building inspector that I'm aware of.
It's up there.
we're talking about coverage taking the deck.
Well, the deck is usually not coverage if there's gravel underneath it, if it's pervious underneath it, so the water can permeate. It's usually only development coverage for impervious areas, sidewalks.
I guess
Building,
are they considering all this driveway
driveways.
here that they're removing? I mean, but it's still, there's still a lot that they're adding. Doesn't, I mean, this much being removed, this little piece being removed.
The existing house is here, so they're
Right.
going much closer over here,
Yeah.
and they're increasing the setback.
No, they're decreasing the setback from what there was. See, it was right here before, now it's going over to there.
Right, so they're increasing.
Oh, yeah,
right?
increasing the distance.
But this is 15-foot setback.
I guess that's required. It looks like they have that
Oh,
listed.
that's your,
Required.
that's your
Building
footprint.
envelope, yeah, that's the envelope
And you're
that's supposed
15
to be.
feet over here, okay.
Dark line is what they're gonna do. The
Got ya.
dash line is the envelope that they're allowed to.
So, but we determined we don't need a variance for that,
With its sides, yes, we don't.
for the sides. We're down to rear yard, FAR, and development coverage.
Because even though they're decreasing the development coverage, it's still above the 25%.
Yeah. And it's, so you're doubling the size of the house.
I don't understand how it's decreasing, 'cause, I mean, even if you look at the footprint, it's still a lot that they're adding, but, I mean, taking away what, this little porch and this?
He says he's doubling the size of the house.
Yeah.
The house is 1258 square feet, and now they're going to 2,500 square feet. Is it currently a two-story house?
It's a single family, so that's why now. It's
gonna be a
it's gonna
two-story.
It's gonna be equal in square footage on each level, so it's not needing as much outside, coverage on the lot.
Okay. So, you're 0.9 feet deficient on the back, you're 962 square feet over on the FAR, which brings you to a 0.435 FAR instead of 0.27. And development coverage, you went from 42%, the original proposal, down to 30%. The existing, we determined is 33%. Okay. Okay.
Definitely a lot better than the other proposal.
Yeah, it's definitely down in size. Where were we last time? We were 3465, yeah.
Correct.
So you came down
Do that if we
almost
were to have
935 square feet.
we had any chance about moving forward and my client wanting to, still be able to build on that lot, that's something that he had to take a look at. So he, took, a couple of weeks and then he told us that 2,500 would be something that Joe had recommended to him, that might be acceptable to the board and meet the, what's already in that neighborhood. We have houses both to the right and to the rear that are much larger than that. And also, however, since we're putting in the same square footage as it is now, but just doubling that square footage on top of the second floor, that would still meet what would look like in the neighborhood.
Again, we talked about those
But
houses
those
behind it next
houses-
to have a larger property.
Right, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, we mentioned that last time.
Like the house behind them is almost double the property,
More than, yeah,
correct?
yeah.
But it's gonna have the same footprint.
But,
No, I know, but it look, that, your footprint on your property looks a lot different than the guy behind you.
It would be if there's a larger lot size, it
Yeah.
would, of course, to be less coverage.
Let's look at this vicinity.
oh, wanna look at the bigger one over here? Much nicer.
Yeah, but I thought it maybe would show the outline of the houses on the
Oh, no,
adjacent.
they chose not to do that. They could have, but they chose not to.
Can I approach 1 second? Just wanted to see if we'll get the same thing.
Original
floor area. It is showing on each of them. Should be similar. This is what was sent to me, that we have the outline of the property here, here's the structure, and then you have what's being proposed, and then
That's a good question.
Well, this
back
is,
here.
this must be the old one, because
No,
this
wait,
is
wait.
showing now you're gonna be,
Well, this looks the same to me.
No, this would be the same.
This is the same. This is the house existing, this shaded in area, and this is what they wanna put in new.
right, so this shows it was 6.1, and now they're going to 10.6?
Yeah, that's our 10.6.
We're moving it
Oh,
over.
there it is.
It's hard to see.
Okay.
I'll ask. What's the square footage of the existing structure on that property today?
I believe it's at 1,258.
Again, it's a single story, so that's.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. I drove past it.
Do you have, did he give us any proposed elevations of what it might, or no?
No, I haven't seen any elevations.
Okay, just wondering.
I haven't seen any elevations, I haven't seen any floor plans, I haven't seen any building plans, but
That's what I go on top.
that's something that you want to see, you should ask for it, but, I mean, I'm very happy with the changes that you made, and reducing the scale, but I still have some concern regarding the size of the house in relation to the scale of the other houses in the community, and whether this is gonna have an impact, because still going to .435.
And this is also a corner lot that everybody's gonna be more noticeable than any of the other houses, especially on the main road. It's gonna have more of a visual impact.
And it's not a corner lot.
No, it's not, well,
No.
that's sorry, you're right, it's second to corner, you're
It's
right.
second to the corner.
Yeah, alrighty,
And I think that's not a negative, actually.
No, it's not a
That's
negative.
positive, I believe.
Yeah.
If you have a brand new home there that would meet the criteria, I think
I saw, that's right,
I think it's, I know the,
that's the one where the house was
maximum
really
height here
close,
was-
there we
is
go,
30
the
feet, and I
existing
think that's
garage,
what
it was
the
a
house
really
is.
close house.
Yeah, I think we got a letter from Mrs. Fogel
Yeah.
saying she doesn't want them looking right into her house.
Didn't want, didn't want the windows, she was asking for it,
They're meeting the setback, though, so.
yeah, so.
We're not granting them a variance on that setback. Let me just look one other calculation.
The house is gonna be 30 feet, you just meet the criteria that's there. I think looking at the zoning data, I think they're talking about 30 feet, which is, I think, is the maximum for the height on that, you did ask that.
Excluding the basement.
Because it's unfinished.
There's unfinished non-habitable space. Okay.
So the basement, so the proposed basement is going to remain unfinished? That is,
That's what it says. That's the
Okay.
note.
is there anything that they change their mind later on, that doesn't?
I guess if they come in, they'd need a new variance if they wanted to
Yeah.
try and turn it into habitable space. Let's just look over my notes. Information. One of the things I said is you're gonna provide additional information on the adjacent lot sizes. Did you give us anything on that?
No, we were asking for behind as well, like the one next, because they were using that as an example, the house behind it next to
The
it.
other houses that you indicated were going to be, that are similar situated on the same lots, and you said, well, I'm gonna give you those
I know
lot
we
sizes.
talked about the lot sizes being larger.
Right, and we're
And
gonna-
I think that was a fact that we all agreed to, that it is larger. However, looking at the houses that are on those lots, which are bigger than what we're proposing here, and what we were just talking about here, that would be substantially the same as related to the type of home
Right,
that we'd be putting up.
we want to see if you get the numbers to prove that. I mean, it's possible, you might be right, but I remember we asked for,
You're looking to find out what the size of those homes are? as
yeah,
much as
because you
what
said it was,
before and
like,
on
you're
the side
saying
of the lot?
it's a similar situation, so, I mean, you look like a trustworthy guy, but, but I still gotta look at numbers to make sure.
No, I understand. Originally, I think
Yeah.
he was substantiating that those houses were, I believe, 2,800 square feet, and I think approximately 30-something hundred, 3,200 square feet, the other house behind?
This is back in November, but yeah, we didn't know the area of the property, that it was in relation to the property,
Right.
to compare it.
That's easy for me to go online and provide that to you fairly quickly, so.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a concern over this .435 FAR and the precedent it may set for other houses on the same lot to say, okay, we wanna increase our FAR by more than what, 16% over what was permitted?
Again, I'm looking at trying to fit in this proposal into the footprint that we do have, and to make it worthwhile for my client to be able to take down that home and build the type of home that he's would want to. I don't believe it's outside an unreasonable amount that we're looking for in this case, and we've done everything we can after listening to the board to take their comments to heart, and then try to fit something that we also, feel would be doable by my client and agreeable.
I think the fact that it is similar in size to other houses in the neighborhood is a factor.
Not really, actually.
Oh, it's not.
Similar in size to the two new houses. Those two houses that were built when we made a loophole, unfortunately, in the floor area ratio, and the houses ended up being able to be, they immediately put the biggest thing they could there in those two lots. And we since changed the law and closed that loophole, and
So with the
that's why
other,
it's now
outside
no
of those,
longer, yeah, if we didn't close that loophole, he wouldn't have to be in front of us right now.
Which,
He
which,
could have built that house that he wanted last time.
which lots are those in?
That were behind it and
These
right next
two
to it.
right here?
No, this one, right behind it and right next to it.
These two abutting lots.
And the two, yeah.
This guy and that guy.
Correct. But if you ever, you can't miss him when you drive by the road, you can see the one over his house, it's actually above it, so. It's right here, when you drive down Main Street, you'll notice this one right away. So. So, yeah, but if you look at all the other houses going down the street,
So
they're
it's,
somewhat smaller, yeah. In fact, this is the guy that used to fix my home. It's a single story, small garage in the basement, so they're all smaller houses. But immediately abutting his property are those two large houses. So I don't think it needs to remain as
what's-
small as the other houses nearby, but
right.
don't want to exacerbate a situation that's already there. I
Right.
mean,
you don't want to reopen a loophole that you closed.
correct.
At the same
But,
time,
but at the same time, he does, it's not outside the realm of possibility of making it larger than the houses that are smaller down the road. I don't think that's the house next door.
Right.
Which is why he came back to us with this
Right.
smaller footprint. How much did you decrease it by, square footage wise again? Just
I
remind me?
think, square footage wise, I believe we just reduced it from.
900 and something?
962.
1927 down to the 962, so, it's approximately 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, it was just over.
But how much is it still over?
By percentage wise?
No, by the actual square footage.
Oh, by the actual square footage?
962 square feet.
So it's still over 962 and
As opposed to when it was last
And it
month,
was what,
it was over by.
.4 what?
.435
Versus .2 something, right?
was .27.
Yeah, 962 square footage exceeding.
And the current one is what again? I apologize, I don't have that in front of me right now. What size does the current house cover that lot?
The FAR?
Oh, the FAR is, what is that? I don't see it. Why isn't that?
Well, if it's 1258 divided by 57, what is it?
We'll do math again.
5742. Right now, you're .219.
And with that coverage, since we're going up, we're not getting any additional lot coverage besides the increase, so.
Yeah, it's the second story.
I think that plays a major factor in this application is that, we're looking for what I believe to be at least a minimal increases for the house to fit that we're looking to, proposing, and that we're going up. And we're gonna be fitting in within that 30-foot window that's required still, so I think that's a very big positive.
Well, I can tell you right now, just look, footprint wise, I'm definitely a lot happier than what, was proposed before. But I still would like to see it doesn't have to be that precise, but a general elevation of what the house is gonna look like.
Yeah, and I'd also like to know
You know,
the size of these other adjacent homes and whether they're similar in
Do
size.
they have the new one on Google Maps yet?
No. What's the new one?
Oh, if you go behind the guys, you can't go up the road, they don't have it down the
Yeah,
road.
you can't go up the road.
So they don't have the new one, you can't even see it from the road there. But in wintertime, now that there's no leaves, you can see it.
The one next door to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a big house, right? We all
Right,
agreed
exactly.
that was massive, and we had
Oh,
people complain that, that house changed the character because it was just so out of scale with the rest of the houses on the block.
If you, actually, yeah, I was gonna say that's the one going down, satellite view.
Yeah, I see it, it's right there.
Much smaller though, but if you look at the other ones down the road, see, look,
Yeah,
they're
They definitely seem to be much smaller.
Yeah, like I said, that guy, I know that road pretty decently well.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to either, I really would like to see the scale of that house confirm that it's in conformity with the rest of the houses on that block.
Easily for me to take photographs during the day of that and along with the Orange County Bulk, you know.
Yeah, get the lot area and the.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get lot areas and the square footage of the homes, that would be great, you know?
It was recently done, so there's plenty on file at the.
Well, that's the guy next door is recently done. What about the other houses down?
The other houses, no, he'd have to go by,
One in the rear, it's been there for a long time.
that would be in tax
If I had
map
a computer right
information.
now, I'd be able to go on and pull both of those, you know, off.
Tax map information, isn't it, right? I think, or square footage or no?
A lot of times they have them on that parcel information page, yeah.
They usually do.
Yeah.
I usually, when I'm doing a contract, I'm always, that's the first place I'm going online, putting such a block, a lot number or address or name of the owner, and I pull that right up.
They usually got that there.
All right, I know we've been doing a lot of the talking. John, any questions, comments?
I mean, I like the fact that it's substantially smaller, but I guess my biggest concern is setting precedent. And if we closed loopholes to then just bypass, you know, those clogs through this process, I guess that's my concern. Because it's still 962. What's gonna stop the next guy from being 1560? And the guy after that, 1820?
My thing is taking a look at each and every case separately, along with what the law would be. And I think in this case, from what we
No,
presented here, and
I
how we're
under-
going about doing that, we're being as realistic as possible.
I understand that, but we also have to take into account the neighbors. We have to take into account, even though each house is we're looking at individually, it still all encompasses one neighborhood. And if this house throws the character of that neighborhood completely off, that one individual case has now impacted, you know, X amount of families on one block. So we can't just always just look at it as an individual case, because that individual case impacts lots of people.
I understand that. That's
Yeah.
why I was looking at the house, at least from just abutting my client's home, what improvements have been made already. And I
Yeah.
believe that this home will only be an improvement to the neighborhood, not take away from the neighborhood. You know, both it would, having a new home on that block, that would fit the area there would be, I don't think would be damaging to their home or their resales or anybody coming down and, you know, and paying anything.
But I understand what you're saying, John, from to play devil's advocate against,
Speaking
I
to
see
your
what,
mic.
what you're saying, if this was if those other two houses that were monstrosities were done, I would totally 100% agree with you, that it shouldn't even be entertained because it would completely throw off the whole neighborhood. But to play devil's advocate, it's already been changed a little by these two houses that are abutting it. Now, I don't agree that they should allow that exact same amount of variance that the two, you know, to make even what's going on there. That would exacerbate the situation. But I think because there's those two large houses there, some leeway could be given. And it wouldn't really set precedents because it's sort of, in this situation, you have those two houses that were uncharacteristically built and they're already there. I mean, it could be,
So what you're saying is you want to double down on negative precedent?
not as extreme. I'm saying some could be alleviated. You're right, though, it is still a lot, but
Yeah.
we could offer some, you know, because it's not gonna make much worse than it already is right now, as long as we are aware that we're not gonna allow it to be as bad, and that's why I wanna see elevations to see, is it gonna be that big of a visual impact? I mean, no question, if you put another house there, that's the exact same one, no question, that's just out of the you know,
Yeah.
it's gone. That's not gonna happen, but if it visually doesn't impact it as much, if it doesn't make much of a difference, you know, that's why I wanna see these elevations, cause I can't really say off the bat, I mean, he's gone down, made it smaller, it's still bigger, it's still a lot bigger, but the fact that it's a two-story makes me wanna see those elevations to see how much different it would be. I mean, one story, I think, you know, the footprint's fine, but two-story, I wanna see these elevations, how they affect everything, cause we already got that huge two-story house next to it.
Yeah.
So, I see where you're going, but I'm leaning, maybe I wanna see more before I make a, you know, it's too early, I think, to tell right now, until I see some elevations of what the house might look like. I don't know if he's gonna be doing 9-foot ceilings, or,
That's fair.
We can tell you right now, too, that elevation from what I'm looking here in the drawings that I have looked at, it's gonna be either 30 feet, the 30-foot height max that's allowed, or shorter than that. It's gonna be one of those two things, so, I don't think it's gonna be substantially, you know, smaller. I don't know, I think it's gonna be 25, 22, 21. I think it's going to be, so.
but a visual impact makes a difference, whether it's a box and just a lid on it, or if he's got, you know, some things going on with dormers, is it a mansard roof? There's a lot of architectural things that could be done to limit the visual impact, so that's why I wanted to see the elevation. But if he's just gonna make a box and put a lid on it, the roof, then, yeah, you're right, I don't have to look at anything, I can just use that. And I could say that's, you know, dropping a box down on there doesn't really do much for the neighborhood, since there are all these little houses along there that have this nice character to it,
Yeah.
except for those two new houses.
Yeah, I mean, what it really amounts to is just putting a second floor. I mean, if
Yeah.
you would take the existing house that was there
And pop a
and just
floor on
put a
top of
second
it?
floor on it, you'd be at 40.43. Because right now he's at .219, almost .22. So
Yeah.
he'd be at .44 almost,
Yeah.
if you just put a second floor. So it's not like we have this massive footprint, you know.
Right.
We have a footprint that's basically the same house, same size as the existing footprint.
Yeah, so, when you include the porch and the steps. Because it's really just this little area. So, it's a little bigger of a footprint, but that's why I wish we could see the difference. The
Yeah.
square footage.
Yeah, how could it be 1258 square feet?
That's what I'm saying, I wanted to see, scales.
Okay. Let's confirm the size. Square footage of existing home. Okay. Elizabeth, any comments, questions?
No, I have nothing further to add.
Jim?
Is this your primary residence? Will it be your primary residence? Is it currently your primary residence? Who occupies that home?
Right now, I'm renting it.
Can I ask you a question? Your original proposal was for 3,465. That's a moonshot. You came in with a moonshot.
Oh, you hope and you.
Oh, yeah, like I hope I have hair, but I gotta be grounded on Earth One. You know, I appreciate you hacking it down significantly, but then we can definitely agree that we can go lower and get closer to conformity, where therefore we are still maintaining what the neighborhood looks like and looked like, because the people that came in here,
Back to what the neighborhood looked like.
Well-
I mean, it's already, it has changed. It's not.
it has changed, but now we have a law that you have to fit into. That's the issue that we're trying to deal with. You know what I mean? So is this going to be your primary home? The answer, I assume, is no. I may be wrong. Prove me wrong.
I have to prove you wrong, right?
Well, you have to tell me.
Like I said, he's renting the home right now.
Right.
It's in- he
So then
wanted-
what-
He wanted to build a home that he was gonna move into after the fact that.
Right, okay, so
taken down,
if-
and he still wants to do
Okay.
that.
So if that is the case, how big is your family? You're a family of how many?
I'm gonna lose a member, pretty soon.
I apologize for
Yeah,
that.
and at the end of the day here, it doesn't matter how many people are gonna be in that
Well,
household.
it does for square footage.
Bottom line, he wants to build a home, he wants to have enough space in there.
I think you mentioned something about like your daughter and her family or something's
Right,
gonna
well-
be living there too, or am I thinking of something else? No?
I
It's,
have a sister with me, and I am potentially gonna get married soon, so.
Okay, that's what it was. I knew there was gonna be another family coming involved.
because, you know, in terms of,
Wanted to grow.
sorry, I mean, in terms of building, you know, a home, You could build a beautiful home for 1,600 square feet, 1,700 square feet, if the family situation needs that much. You understand what I'm trying to
I
say?
understand that you're putting limits on what even.
I'm not putting limits, it's the
Well, I'm
laws.
just saying, even just talking about this hypothetically, if my client was a single male and he wanted to build a home that's going to be larger than what he has there now, if he's gonna expend the money to take down what is already there now and then rebuild that home on that lot, because he loves the neighborhood, he loves the area, he wants to stay. And he also one day will want to sell the house, and he wants the house to be, he's putting that kind of money in by taking down a structure and building a new one, he's gonna wanna have that value there, that it was worthwhile to do that. So he's gonna get both the ability to live there for whatever amount of years he's going to do so, and then when he wants to move, he's gonna then be able to sell it at a much higher price than he'd be able to sell the home that's there right now. So it's a balance, it's an investment, it's the way, how he wants to live, the livelihood that he wants to do, and we believe that with all we're doing here, well, not only, but what we're doing mostly here is adding a second floor to this new home that we're gonna wanna put in there. And we don't think that's gonna be a major effect on that neighborhood, besides a positive one.
And it's also, it includes an unhabitable or non-habitable basement.
Correct, for, for mechanicals and so forth.
Okay. I mean, I agree with Dan to a certain extent. I'd like to see the elevations, maybe the floor plans. And I would like to look at the square footage of these adjacent lots and the square footage of those houses on those lots and see what their FAR is, because I, like John, don't really want to open up a precedent where now everybody down this block is coming in here and saying, you know what? I want a 2,500 square foot home too. And 2,500 square foot home, it's not necessarily a big house, but, you know, if it's out of scale and now we're transforming this whole neighborhood and making every house non-compliant, what was the whole point of, you know, adopting an FAR law to keep the scale and consistent with what's there, so.
And like John was saying, you don't want to exacerbate an already bad situation because of what was put there just recently, was snuck in.
Don't forget, this house is already non-conforming.
All right, I understand.
And also, probably every single house in that block probably is based upon what the new law is. I went through every house on that block, I bet you every house is not conforming also.
On FAR? No, you're conforming, the existing
Right.
house is conforming on FAR. Your existing house, if it's
Just setbacks,
1258, is .219, and you're allowed to go to .27. So, let's just do a little math here. 50, what did I say it was? 5742. Even if you go times 30%, you can build 1722. So you're gonna go over by .3, and you're still gonna have a 17.
Yeah,
Which is
1,700
still
square
a
feet.
very nice home.
That's a
You
decent,
know,
that's
even 1,800
that's bigger
square
than the home
feet.
that I grew up
I'm
with.
quite
with-
certain the
if it's two
appreciation
story,
and
we're talking
value
about
in terms of an
900
ROI is gonna be pretty good.
My parents had 4 kids that grew up in just under 1,500 square feet,
Yeah,
so.
so did I.
That's not what in front of us, I understand that
No,
too, I grew up in, in Blooming Grove, I think that house probably was 1,900 square feet, 2,000 square feet.
Yep.
But as we know, all the houses these days, when people are rebuilding them, are gonna be bigger, not smaller. And I know we're looking for a variance, that's why we're actually here.
Right.
We have good reasons why we want to build something on the same lot that he's owned for many years. And at this day, he wants to have his family in there, and he wants to have a proper resale, he's gonna put all that money into it.
Right, like you already said.
All
I-
honest and good,
Right.
reasons.
I think we're at a point now where everybody's got an idea of where we're going, but we just don't have all the information we need yet to make a final determination. Like, we need to see those numbers for the, not just the abutting, but the adjacent houses. And seeing an elevations and some photos would definitely help. But right now, there's not a lot that we can, we have a lot to think about, but not enough.
Are the other houses on that lot, are they single-story or two-story? Do you know?
Most of them are single.
In the neighborhood, you mean?
Yeah, it should go up Park, it should go up
There's a
Park
couple
Avenue.
of two houses, there's a couple two, but there's mostly single.
Oh, yeah.
They're mostly single family.
The two
With
egregious
finished
ones are the
basements.
ones that, you know, were built
Those
prior
are
to the
just,
law. They're McMansion-y.
The big ones, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the
That,
ones.
you know,
the old ones are
The
done,
older
Tracks
ones.
from the neighborhood.
they're like
you know?
charming New England bungalows, like type.
Yeah,
they're
very
like that,
true,
most of them.
very true.
There's a couple that are two stories, but most of them are single
Yeah.
stories with finished basements and. Like I said, I knew people that lived on that street. God, it's been a while. Just say the last time I was actually on that street with knowing the people, I was playing Ring and Run.
What's the square footage of your uninhabitable basement?
I'm not sure whether that's gonna be the same size or smaller than that.
Because if you made it,
I don't have the
if you made it
basement.
habitable, that's square footage that you could use.
Well, that'll probably be the next application.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Probably,
conform
but
with the habitable space.
at least it would
they don't have to
maintain the
come back,
continuity of
but-
the neighborhood.
You gotta
That's what they-
assume, if the house is 2,500 square feet without a cantilever, right?
Yeah.
Each floor is about 1,250 and the foundation's probably
Right.
1,250, so.
Right.
um,
That's why I was asking, like, is it planned on being? Because sometimes
Right.
people save something for later
Wink,
on.
wink, nudge,
Is that-
nudge.
is the-
Like
Do you
the
have
M&T
building
building,
plans?
that attic
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to have a.
Suddenly
Yeah,
it turns into
floor-
something
floor
else.
Floor plans?
But I don't believe we have anything.
Not construction drawings,
No, it
but, you know,
doesn't
just,
have to be
Right now-
construction.
Right now, we're doing everything we can just to see if we can get the variance before we spend more money to get full architectural drawings.
Well, we don't need full architectural drawings. They're
Right.
architectural sketches. I used to do those all the time. You sit down and he basically has an
Yeah.
idea of it and you can
yeah,
just.
maybe just
look
a
at it.
floor plan and an elevation.
We do have, floor plans that we're used to, with a certain area.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you started with a building that you're gonna adjust eventually later on and.
All right.
We're not sure what the outside is really gonna look like at this point, we just wanted to know what the square footage to be, where it needs to go on the property, and then from there, we would go, go forward from there.
So are we all in agreement that we'd like to see some additional, the floor plans and the elevations and confirm the size and square footage of these other lots and these other houses?
Yes.
So that we can, assess the scale and the magnitude and the impact on the character of the community? You're all in agreement with that?
I mean, that'd be helpful, but I'm still big on setting precedent.
Right.
I'm still big on
Rightfully
that.
so, though. It's definitely something that we should worry
And, you
about.
know,
Absolutely.
Because once you start opening those floodgates,
Yeah, that's right.
water comes gushing through.
That's true.
Oh, absolutely. It's without a doubt.
Yeah,
And
it's
we've
quite a
had-
possibility.
And, yeah, we've had people in front of us before saying, hey, we gave it to this other person.
Yeah.
It's,
So with that, I'm gonna make a motion that we adjourn the public hearing again till our meeting on February
11.
11th? And that the app,
2024, I'm looking
and
at.
that you get us those floor plans and elevations, the square footage of the adjacent lots and the houses, and also to confirm the square footage of the existing house.
With the public record, like on the Orange County public, it should have the.
Yeah, I guess, I mean,
You or when you-
we know those things are, deemed reliable, but not guaranteed, but I guess it's a good place to start.
place to start.
Yeah.
We're gonna be within a couple hundred square feet, if there has been any, changes otherwise that we don't know about from the public record, but they're both homes that are
Right.
larger than the one we're proposing.
And if the applicant can, consider whether maybe he can knock some square footage off this lot without jeopardizing his plans for his family, that would be good. If he can't, I understand.
Right now, at least at this moment, from our conversations, this is something we were comfortable submitting to the ZBA board.
Okay,
Based
so-
on the recommendations last time, okay, a large step toward the direction that you had placed on the.
Yeah, no, it was a good change, and we appreciate it, and, but just with regard to the FAR, it's just, still seems excessive.
Definitely look
It's
forward to seeing
substantial.
that information next week, next month, so.
You'll have that probably within a week.
I'll second that motion that you
Well-
want. to
Okay,
adjourn the public
so we got a motion by Paul to adjourn to 2/11/25, seconded by Dan Margada. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor.
And Paul, what were the three things? I know one was confirm the square footage of the existing lots, the square footage of the adjacent lots.
No, confirm the square footage of the existing house.
Right, of the house, I'm sorry.
Check, check the square footage of adjacent lots.
Right, and what was the third one?
And the square footage of the houses on
On
those
those
lots.
lots.
So
Okay,
we
so
want
we
the
can
lot area
compare.
and the lot houses,
So we can
and then
compare.
elevations and floor plans.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay?
Yes, thanks.
And not just the two new abutting houses, but a couple of the other ones that are on the block too, so,
Yep,
to give comparisons.
Yeah. Down the block and take a look. Okay?
Thank you for your time, we'll see you on.
thank
Monday.
you.
Okay.
I'll try to get everything at least 10 days prior to the
Appreciate it.
Happy New Year again, everybody.
Thank you very much.
I just don't, there's not enough numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would like to know
Yeah,
how big this house is.
Mitch Meyer.
This sort of comparable. Square footage,
Yeah.
you know?
This was the house that I.
no,
if
that's,
you go down the road, you'll notice the house with a
Mr.
driveway that goes down into a tiny little garage.
Phillips.
That's the guy who used to fix my
Michael
lawnmower.
Phillips.
He's since moved. but- Oh, this one.
Mayor,
I wrote on
Yeah,
it.
it's okay. Is this the,
We're gonna get the
okay,
nameplates.
motion? That's true.
Yeah.
I'm drawing your back on, right?
Yeah. He had to, he lives next door to that property. Across the street, sorry. It's his neighborhood.
No, actually,
Next door?
their back fence.
All right, next application on the agenda is the application of the continuing public hearing, the application of Guy Melita, area variances from FAR law, section 200-24-1B, to permit construction, what was that?
Wind chimes?
Of a detached garage with an accessory apartment on the second floor, which will exceed the maximum FAR by 1,072 square feet.
yes.
And from section 226.2 to exceed the maximum allowed size of an accessory structure of 1,200 square feet. The property is SR 20 zoning district, lot 227-1-57.2, 4 Norwich Lane.
That's the one close to Pine Tree, right?
You're on, Mr. Melita.
Good evening. Since the last meeting, I reduced the square footage of the structure from approximately 2,100 square feet to 1,370 square feet. I submitted the new floor plan with the new dimensions last time I was here. The old dimensions are in black, the new dimensions are red. I have a few more copies if you need. This one, that's a survey. That was before. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, 114.
Okay, he removed the bump out for the
May I have
stairwell.
one, sir?
Moved it in.
Pushed it in.
4 Norwich.
Yeah, I remember that. We even talked about having this open
Thank you
stairwell.
very much.
I guess he wanted it enclosed. This is-
So I submitted the survey with the setbacks, it meets all required setbacks.
So he turned the garage into a large single, right? That's what it looks like? No, 20?
That's the garage underneath, and this is,
The apartment above with the terrace. You have the elevation?
So you're gonna knock down the existing, that little garage
But yeah,
there?
the red are the old dimensions and the black are the new dimensions.
No, I'm just looking at this picture here.
Yeah, that's what's gonna be in place of that, yes.
All right.
I submitted photos of my property and my neighbor's property too. All of those.
this must be yours.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, he just handed it, he just gave me this.
Oh,
That looks like it's probably the original. Let's give it to Christine, just keep that in the file, it's the
I'll
original.
look at John's.
Yeah, here are the pictures, I think I emailed them everybody, but
Yeah,
I'll
that's-
send them around. Yeah, because last time when we were looking at this, when Jimmy made his first determination, he was looking at different plans than you had submitted to us.
Right.
Right, so that your building was more like 1,800 square feet or something like that, we determined. And now you brought it back.
Oh, here we go, here we go.
He-
That's what I wanna
He
see.
suggested 25% reduction, that's what my, architect did, and that came down to about 1,370 square feet.
Yep, that's,
Who suggested that, though?
Excuse me?
Jim did? Who suggested that?
Jim spoke to my architect, and they suggested reduce around 25%, that would help.
So that's a shed,
Anything
right?
less than that, it really doesn't,
yeah,
not
right now
feasible
it's
for
like
me
a
to
shed.
build anything, so.
Or tiny car.
So
Or
let's
Fiat.
take a look here.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Pass it along.
Pass it along. That's what we got, existing, and this is the house next to it. There's no shed. Can't see it.
Mr. Melito, I guess while
Two-car garage.
everybody
We've already
is
got it.
cogitating, I'll ask you a
That's the
question or
two-car
two.
garage. This is this. So it's a
Um,
single story, two-car garage.
I'm thinking
Yeah,
about
it's not
this
the shed, the shed's here.
garage,
Right.
right, because the,
Oh, and this is.
intent of the project, right, was to help a new, a family member who's gonna be new to the household, right? But in addition to the, apartment, above, you've got a garage underneath.
Right.
Now, the reason I'm asking this, I'll just tell you before you
Two-story.
fill me in here, is that if we go through our balancing test and find that a variance is warranted, we're still required
Two-car
to
garage.
grant the least variance that meets the need, right? So, I'm looking
How
at
far
that
back?
garage and wondering,
Like how far back here?
is the new family, the family member, the new member of the household bringing cars? What, do you need the garage there? And if so, tell me why that is.
Well, they do have a car, obviously, but for me to build a structure, it needs to be something that's feasible later on down the road, if I ever decide to move or anything. Just to have a little shed back there as a little apartment, it's really, and I think it would look better as a garage with an apartment on top. It fits in better with my property. I already have a two-car garage. It would just be like an extension of the garage.
Give a
Right.
ballpark of the size of the shed that's on there right now. This is a.
12 by 12.
That's what I thought, okay.
Now,
12 by 12.
it's a shame that our building inspector isn't here with us, because as I remember, you can build a garage of a certain size and you don't, and it's exempt from the FAR law. Maybe somebody remembers the law better than I and can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's true. So, you know, if you did want to add additional garage
And the garage
capacity,
itself?
I think there is another way to do that, that would require a lesser variance. That's what's,
Out on the
Roof is gonna be a little higher.
Yeah.
so if you
Maybe
were
it's
to,
gonna
let's
align with
say,
the top of the
build,
Maybe this.
you would still need a variance, for FAR
Yeah, I
reasons
think so.
to do it.
Right, because I'm only apparently
the type
only
of
allowed
roof.
278 square feet more on my property. I have 100,000 square foot of
Yeah.
property, so apparently I'm only
Wait.
allowed 278 square foot addition to what I have now.
Yeah,
Just gotta remember, his FAR, I mean, let's talk about this. The last application, he was allowed to go to a .27, right? 27%. His FAR permitted is 4.5%, because he's got a 100,000 square foot lot. So this addition would put him at an FAR of 5.5%.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But,
Let's,
okay,
so let's
that's
just
what
keep it
we.
in perspective.
Right,
Yeah, 'cause
yeah,
he's
I
got
mean,
this
that-
huge
that's-
lot.
But that's what the table says. So, yeah, I think you've got a footprint here, it looks like it's about, what? 500 square feet,
The square foot is actually around
top and bottom, right?
square foot.
Well, we got 481
and you
there,
have,
and this is gonna be about the same, is it not?
481 square feet.
600.
It's 13.7 around there.
Right, okay, so the apartment portion is 600, and you've got just under 300 in hand, right? So you need a little more than 300 for us just to do that.
Oh, because they're including this
But
for the
you
apartment.
could do that, it strikes
That's not
me,
the stairs?
if you got that variance, and then build
At the bottom.
a separate garage for your family member, which doesn't count against fire. And by doing so,
That's a question.
reduce the amount of variance that you'd need.
You're talking about a separate structure for the garage as opposed to that?
Yeah, yeah.
So does that make sense,
Because-
though?
Does that make sense?
Does that make sense? Let's build two
It-
structures, because in the fiction and the zoning that we've created, if you build two structures, you don't, of 1,320 square feet,
Now, it's,
that
now,
you don't need a variance, but if it's one structure of 1,320 square feet, you
now,
do
it's
need a
not-
variance?
It's
It's
almost like,
not,
can you keep a garage and
it's
put
not I.
stilts
No, no, I
above it?
who invented
Those are
these
two
laws.
separate buildings.
I understand, but it's,
Okay.
but it's us that are charged with being
If-
reasonable.
Well, but the law says least variance required.
Right.
That's what the law says. Now, if I could make it, you know, if I could make it up for Mr. Melita the way I want it, maybe it'd be different, but I don't get to do that.
but we also have to look at also how it affects the character of the neighborhood and, you know, how it's gonna impact, if it's a excessive, variance compared to what's going on there.
I got a quick question.
Well, that's a separate issue. See, that's.
But that's
a
one of the things we
question-
gotta
That is the question
consider.
of if the variance is warranted. I'm kind of on a separate step here and thinking, let us imagine that we've gone through the balancing test and we find that, you know, Mr. Melita has an argument for a variance here, but we're wondering about, you know, are we giving the right amount of variance?
That's why the percentage relative to what their FAR is should be where we're focusing on. Yeah, it's so that we avoid creating precedent. What I mean by that is if you have a FAR of 0.21 and we go to 27, what's the percentage increase relative to 0.5?
If we want to, not be setting precedents of, awarding a very large FAR variances, then we do have to look at, when we do award a variance, ensuring that it's the least variance, that meets the need, which is, after all, the law.
Right.
So that's why I just wanted to explore with Mr. Melita what is going on with the garage, because as I remember, you may have said last time that you didn't really need the garage, but I wanted to revisit that and find out.
Look, I go, the garage could be used, yes, I could use the garage. Is it necessary? No, but if you're talking about building two structures, now, to build one structure and go up, it's a lot cheaper than building two separate structures. So that's what, you know, that's what my mindset is. It doesn't cost much to go up, it costs much. And I don't really have the room, I mean, I have a big property, but really, to make it look nice, I don't have the room for two structures between the garage and another structure. I don't think.
Okay.
I think it would look better in one. It kind of matches the garage I have there, almost the same size as the garage I already have. It would just be next to it.
So he could do two separate structures if he wanted. He has the room and availability, but he's saying just for aesthetics and just so visually impacting, and I'm sure environmentally, it's better to combine them on top of each other.
I heard him.
Yeah, I guess.
If the garage is separate, doesn't count towards the FAR?
Isn't that, no?
Up to a certain size, that's
Yeah.
right.
So
That's something that.
my attached garage in my house, that counts towards the FAR?
Because it's attached.
Yes.
A detached garage of less than 480 square feet, that doesn't count.
How tall is it gonna be?
Yeah, it doesn't make,
Tall is it gonna be?
My house?
No, the
existing.
existing.
I don't have the structural drawing yet, I just got the floor plan. Once I got this approved, I would get everything made. It'd probably be the same size as the garage I have now.
Okay.
So you're trying to keep it there, maybe tuck in under, you know, do a couple of sloped,
I would try to keep it even with the other one, I wouldn't want it.
too
No,
much.
I gotta look at the house too, I gotta
Yeah,
look
then
at my wife.
yeah, then that's.
I know that.
Ashley, what was the size of the garage that's exempt?
Cape Cod corners, that's,
480.
that would help out nice.
And it's just a freestanding sole garage?
Accessory detached garages of less than 480 square feet.
Which, by the way, the one that you're planning is 481.
481.
So, wait.
What are we talking about?
If you were to build a garage just like that, single-story garage all by itself, 1 square foot smaller,
Yeah.
you'd be fine.
Well, he wouldn't be fine, but he still has a FAR issue with his car.
Well, with the apartment, no, I'm saying if he
But
wanted
the
to build a
garage,
garage
if you
that
take the
size.
just the garage.
Yeah, you take the garage out, build, squeeze 1 square foot out of it, build it by itself, it does not count against the FAR law. And now, your apartment is suddenly a whole lot easier for us to digest.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's feasible for me to do that.
Yeah,
Well,
John, I understand what
that's
you're
another
getting at, but I don't really see that as making sense, because if he can build the garage
This is how I look at it.
without exceeding the FAR, the fact that he's putting an apartment above it, now all of a sudden, what he's building is problematic?
Well, now, you are questioning what's in the law. I'm working
I'm
with
just,
what
I'm just
they
trying to
give
be
me.
reasonable.
And
I'm just
that's-
trying to be reasonable.
right, and this is why
You
we're
could have a
here.
480 square foot garage, but if you build an apartment on it, you can't have it.
But I could build it next to it and have it, and have not a
And you,
problem.
and you can build it next to it, well, you might have a problem
Well, I mean,
on that, but not with the garage.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
I get it.
and again, I'm thinking,
That's-
isn't that what we're here for, to help, like, say, if somebody wanted to
Offer
combine
relief.
these, you know, spread out all these big constructions and say, hey, listen, I know I can do this and do a large development, cover all this property, but can I combine these two? You know, can I get a variance
I
to do
think
that?
it would look better,
And-
one
and then,
structure, just
you know, that's what
kinda match
we
the
would
other
actually be improving upon the development by allowing such a
I
thing
mean,
to
it
happen.
it might
Which is
look
why
better.
we're here, to make a decision.
It might look better, and, again, if I
Environmentally,
could
it's definitely better, because he's
make it
not
up
covering up everything.
For, you know, for Mr. Really, that any which way I wanted, I might do just that. But, the law does say the least variance, and, somehow, if you put it together in the same structure, it does count against FAR, for whatever reason.
Yeah, well,
So I just wonder if that's, if that could fit on your lot.
But the two different structures, I wouldn't want to, it
Like
wouldn't
right
look good.
next
it
to
wouldn't
each
look
other,
good.
it doesn't seem completely crazy to me,
Put
to
a
be honest.
bunch of structures on it, still wouldn't look good. You
Garage
know,
with the
you gotta
thing
think
next to it?
about,
I don't wanna look like a, don't take it the wrong way, trailer park, I want to, you know.
exactly.
you know what, I
Just because he's
understand
allowed to
that,
do doesn't
but
mean
it-
it's
But
the
if you look at
nicest.
it
Excuse me?
Just
reasonably,
because
you're
you're
still
allowed to
gonna
do that
end
doesn't
up
mean it's good.
I
with
mean, I
thirteen
can live
hundred
there.
square foot of additional area,
Mm-hmm.
just in a different layout. So
Right.
does it really make sense?
No. But
It doesn't to me.
I look at it this
But
way, that's
I'm
what we're
just
here
one-
for.
I'm just one
To
advice,
help make
okay.
these determinations, to look at these things that way and see where there's the problems in the code that we can help alleviate.
On the existing one now?
On the proposed one, is there gonna be heat in the,
There's gonna be heat in there?
The garage,
in the garage portion?
That's an issue probably, because, oh my
So
God.
then, yeah, that
I'm
makes,
just looking at the definition of
Well, if I don't put heat in it,
livable floor area, and that excludes,
but if it counts towards the, you know,
so yeah, it'll
I'd like to
exclude.
hear the end of that.
She said it excludes unheated garage.
definition of livable floor area excludes unheated garages.
So if he never heats it, doesn't insulate it.
So I'm wondering,
Heats it, then
I
it's,
mean, he can't do that, right?
I mean,
if I
might,
don't heat it, it's excluded and
Yeah,
might need Jim to weigh in on that.
he can still do it that way. He just insulates from the floor and the upstairs walls.
Okay.
I guess you have to do a lot of insulation, because you got a family member now that's exposed underneath and.
No,
both
the
sides and-
garage is unheated. This way he
Yeah,
would just,
underneath,
yeah,
underneath the apartment.
yeah. That's actually better insulation than the slab insulation, because he's already got the air gap. It's better insulated that way, much better. If he was to do that.
Anybody else have any other questions, comments? We've heard enough?
So this floor area of the garage may be a moot point if he does, make sure it's uninsulated and unheated, right?
I think we'd want Jim to just weigh in
Right.
on that, how that definition.
That's why I said
applies
might.
to- Yes.
I said might be a moot point, yes.
Well, I can speak for me personally. I don't think we need to get any more input from Jim on this one. I see this one as, it's a minor increase in FAR. He's gonna be 5.5%. He's got 100,000 square feet. This 1,320 square foot garage apartment addition is not gonna make one change, negative impact in the neighborhood. And the fact that, maybe we can put a condition on it that the garage not be used for habitable space.
Not be heated.
But other than that, I don't see this as being a major issue. It's a small addition. It's an insignificant increase over what's permitted, and it's in character with the area, and I don't see it changing the character and having any sort of negative impact on environmental issues. So I'm okay with it.
Especially, I mean, if he didn't have that huge house next to it, I think this is barely making an impact only on his property, because the neighborhood has got these large houses anyway, and this is not even as big as his garage that he has on his house. It's not even that big.
no, it was gonna be, but now we,
No, it's
So I'm gonna make a motion that we grant the application.
Do you wanna close the public hearing first?
oh, good
We
idea.
never closed it? Let's continue it then, just for the record. So before I close it, does anybody from the public have any comments on the application? I'll note for the record, nobody is here in attendance, and there's no public comments. I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
PSB motion, close. PH, seconded by Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor? And then do we have to do, I guess we have to do secret, so I'll make a motion that we type it as a type 2 action, not further to any further seeker review?
I don't think you did that previously, so yes.
Okay.
So I have to second that motion for you?
Yeah, somebody needs a second.
I'll second it.
Type 2, seconded by Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all in favor. And now on the application, so I will make a motion to grant the application to permit a garage apartment addition of 1,320 square feet on the condition that the garage area not be,
habitable, converted.
not be enclosed and converted to habitable space.
It's 1370.
1370?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna
What?
1320 based on Jim's.
1370?
I believe it's 1370.
Let me see Jim's most recent letter.
Oh, he's probably is that probably including the walls, going by the overall
It was
footprint?
1320, but I believe we could do the math as 1370.
Probably whether it's interior dimensions or exterior, but
This is 481 and 800 with that.
Yeah, this is 600, this is 481, but it doesn't include
Right.
all the outside area, so,
32, 28.
okay. Then not to exceed 1370, just for the sake of confusion. And garage not be converted to habitable space. Okay, that's my motion. Do I have a second on that motion?
Definitely second that one.
Okay.
I think that's just.
Seconded by Dan. Any discussion?
Well, I'd like to put in a word of discussion. I think that Mr. Melita has an excellent case for variance, and I think maybe we should have walked through the balancing test a little bit more myself, but I think we would have found that there's a really good argument there. And I do very much appreciate that he worked to get the square footage down to something smaller than what came in the first time through. I just wonder if we couldn't have found a way to help Mr. Melita that does not require quite so large a square footage variance. Myself, I think I would not be in favor of the motion. I think maybe there is a little bit more that we could have done to find a variance that isn't quite so large. That's my my view of the matter.
But that was, so
Should
what
we go
you're
over to
saying is,
5?
if it was a separate garage, if he separated them into two structures and that garage became exempt, then we would be reducing the variance.
Yeah, wouldn't we?
But we'd still have the same thing in the end, just in two structures.
We do, and that's a quality of the law. That's how this
No,
law
I understand,
reads.
but, right, and we're here to grant variances from the law
Yeah,
when it really doesn't make rational sense to follow the law when you can accomplish the same thing. But, you know, your discussion is, your comments are understood and they're taken in, but, you know, you want to go through the factors? Let's
We
go through the
should,
factors.
Go to the 5, let's go through.
So as part of discussion one, is there going to be an undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood, or will it create a detriment to nearby properties?
I say no.
I vote no.
No, absolutely no.
No.
Elizabeth, no. Jim, no.
I think probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. I mean, we
Okay.
haven't really explored the different possibilities that Mr. Melita might pursue, but
Well,
assuming
let's
that
look
we're
at, so
talking
let's go,
about.
that's number two, so let's go. Can the benefit sought by the applicant be achieved by some other method that's feasible for the applicant to pursue other than a variance?
See, this is,
And that's where your comes in. So,
well,
yeah, is it,
well, no, he still would need a variance, of course.
okay, so we
but-
can't eliminate the variance, but we reduce it numerically if we put it into two
I wonder
structures.
if we might not be able to
But it'd be more
find-
expensive for him, and it would take up more of his property,
And that, yeah, and that's where.
and he
I
would have
think-
less area to enjoy.
Yeah, and he could certainly make those arguments. I just think that there's more.
And it would
more
certainly
room to run
increase
there.
the development coverage,
Correct.
create more water runoff.
It would affect the environment more.
There are things to be
Okay.
considered here.
So, so the answer to number 2 is yes, possibly there is a way that this can be done that's feasible to the applicant to
That requires
pursue,
a lesser variance.
that requires a lesser variance. Arguably, that's probably true, but,
Okay.
okay.
Number 3.
Is the requested variance substantial? In my mind,
I don't-
it's no. He's going from .45 to .55, so it's a
Well-
point,
0.5.
Mr. Belita wants
Oh, no, 0.10,
roughly
0, yeah,
1,300 square feet. He has a little less than 300 square feet in hand. He needs over 1,000 square feet of variance, and in my view, that's pretty substantial. That's how I look.
Well, but you're looking at just in
but you're
feet of
looking at-
square footage. You gotta look at the lot itself. This is a large lot in comparison.
I appreciate that, but that is, you
If-
know.
if
the-
this
the
was a
farm
quarter-acre
law
lot.
says what it says about what he can use in that lot.
And again, that's what we're here to offer, alleviation when the law doesn't make
There's different ways
sense.
you can look at.
Exactly.
At substantiality, but as I see it, if it's 1,000 square feet of variance, that's pretty substantial.
Regardless of the size of the property.
Yeah.
yeah, it's 1,000 square feet on a 100,000 square foot piece of property.
Yeah.
So I think for substan, it would be looking at the FAR and that, I guess, evaluating the magnitude of that.
Right, it's 1%,
Yeah,
It's going from, what was that, it was .45
to 5.5.
0.55,
So it's, yeah, 0.1%. That's,
1%.
I don't consider that
I don't-
any significant
Yeah, in my
magnitude.
mind, that's not substantial, so anybody, Dan, you think it's substantial?
I don't think it's substantial
Elizabeth,
at
you
all.
think it's substantial? Jim, you think it's
Not in
substantial?
percentage terms, I don't.
0.1, is that percent?
No, the,
Not the
what I was
project
trying to see in these old notes was what we did with the other gentleman, Mr. Shamit, and what the percentage increase relative to FAR was. And if we could apply that across the board and be in conformity with the law. So I was trying to do quick math to see what exactly, although on a number, just a pure number, .04 and .05, obviously doesn't appear great. But in terms of a percentage increase relative to the next applicant, what is the impact? Which is where we get into precedent and everything else.
Mr. Samet, I
Right.
still have to have the
I have it,
application
yeah.
here.
If
We,
you have
uh,
the calculator, we could,
Let's give
We
me some
gave him,
numbers.
we gave him to exceed the FAR by 587.83 square feet.
which moved his FAR to .202, is that correct? And his original was .135, is that correct? I don't know if these numbers are correct, but that's what's in his decision.
It was a .202 FAR, yes.
Which one was that?
Shamit? I may be saying it wrong, Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I thought it was called Samet. It's 10 Winchester.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously, what is the percentage increase that we granted to that applicant over his FAR?
Let's
And if
see
we can
here.
apply that across the board, that would be an equitable way to determine
If you
it.
think that was
I thought we handled it
the
fairly
best
that
way to
way.
go there.
I don't know, I mean, I'm open to other thoughts, but
So what size is the apartment right now? Just the apartment
I
itself?
think he was allowed to
600.
go,
600 square foot
he
apartment.
was allowed to go to .135, and we allowed him to go to .202.
correct, those are the numbers I have. So what's that percentage increase?
0.9?
Well,
Mm.
I mean, 50%
0.09,
basically above
sorry,
what he's
0.09,
allowed, right?
Right,
Roughly.
so if you go roughly 50% above what Mr. Melita's allowed, you get to what number?
0.23?
.6?
Right. So,
Point-
Not that significant in
now,
comparison.
from a mathematical point of view, which is what I care about, because life is all numbers, you're okay with me.
Yeah.
But I understand what my other
I
members are
understand too,
saying.
that's why we're here.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is what it is.
But everything comes down to numbers, brother.
And that's why I think, well, we also got to look at the property in the neighborhood, because that's why one of the
Right,
pillars
but
is
his,
how it affects.
his
So,
neighborhood is tricky because it's off the beaten path, it's a
Exactly.
private road. If you ride down it, you think you're gonna
Exactly.
be opened fire on by a turret, by a machine gun there.
It's
I know, I know.
And that's why we take those things into account, because
I hear you.
no
I
two
hear you.
situations are alike.
My driveway?
Quiet,
They-
peace,
I swear,
nice.
But they come down, they turn around on my grass, and they go,
Brother?
every summer I'm fixing the grass, they all turn around on the grass.
Preaching to the choir, I hear you. I loved it. I saw it, I loved it. As long as I didn't see purple on the trees, I knew I was okay.
How long you been?
Let's
how long
go
you
to the
been-
next one. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental condition of the neighborhood or district. I do not believe it will.
Not at all.
Okay, and the last one, was it self-created? Yes, I agree, it's self-created, but that does not necessarily preclude granting the variance. So all in all, where I am is I think that the benefit to the applicant from granting this variance clearly outweighs any impact that there might be to the community or the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. So I vote yes for granting the variance. So,
Yeah.
and
I do. I think due to the minimal impact of increase and the neighborhood in which this variance is being granted in, it should be granted. That it's going to be. Sorry, I think it should be granted based on the fact that it's going to be a minimal impact and the neighborhood that it's in is not going to be affected too much.
Elizabeth,
I'm in favor of granting the variance.
Jim,
I'm in favor of it.
John?
Yeah, I think, like I said, that I think there is a little bit, I think a variance is in order. I think the question is, have we found the least variance that would accomplish the fulfillment of Mr. Melita's requirements? In my view, there is a little room to run there, and we should perhaps have explored some other avenues. So I'm afraid I'm going to say that I am not in favor of this particular motion, though I think we probably could have found something for Mr. Melita that would have helped him. And maybe this would be the one, but I think maybe there was a little more that we could have explored.
So is this just an
So
opinion?
is- so
or
is
actual
your-
vote?
So is your vote on,
Yeah,
against
what's
the
vote?
motion or for the
For the
motion?
Against.
Okay,
So-
yes, John Gilstrap, okay. So we'll show it as, the vote is 4-1. The application is approved. You're back in the jurisdiction of the building inspector. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Melita.
All right, brother.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of August 13th,
Oh, gee.
2024. We ready to vote on those things yet?
Was I here for that? Just so long ago.
Let's see. Absent was Dan Margada. And
Excellent.
And alternate member Ben Rose, so.
'Cause I didn't read
It's up to me, Elizabeth, John, and Jim.
I think I gave you something for that one, didn't I?
I think you did, and I thought I incorporated them and I sent them around, so.
I've done my worst on that.
But I wasn't here
Okay.
for December either.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, Jim, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Elizabeth. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Abstention.
you're abstain. Okay, so it's 4-0, EM abstain. Okay, approved. Wonderful. Okay, next one is the approval of the minutes of December 10th, 2024.
Let's see.
Comments?
I found something that I think is maybe worthwhile.
Okay,
So, in this second paragraph here, was present, it seems to hover here at the beginning of that line, and I don't know what it's doing there.
Oh, it's Michael Phillips, the principal
Yeah.
of 15 Parking, and was present, so we'll just move
What?
that over.
Was he present? I didn't remember it.
Yeah, that's Mr. Phillips.
Yeah, I remember the gentleman in question.
Yeah.
He was present last time?
He was present at that meeting, yes,
Okay.
he spoke. But we'll fix that.
So are these yours, by the way, before we, or is this,
No, I think this came from Paul.
Paul, so give it to, yeah, put it in the file, I guess.
This is Norwich.
That was it.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay,
That's all I had.
all right. Somebody want to make a motion to approve?
I will make the motion to approve, subject to that,
John's
correction.
to a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Elizabeth. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstention.
Aye, abstain. Oh, you were absent also at December 10th.
Oh,
That's okay, I'm just saying.
Wait, you were in here last month?
Yeah, that's why we adjourned.
Oh, okay,
So
so yeah,
she
abstention.
cannot,
Oh, okay,
So
sorry.
she can't,
Okay.
Sorry.
can't second.
So I can't approve.
You second.
I'll second.
There you go. Sorry, I didn't mean
Well,
to say it like
technically
you.
she can, she familiarized herself, but it's okay, we'll vote. Seconded by Jim Lenari, and then I vote yes. Jim?
Yes.
Yes. You're gonna abstain?
I'm
You're gonna
staying.
abstain? Yes. So it's 3-0. Elizabeth and Dan abstain. So those are approved. Nice. Old business. I don't think we have any old
have
business.
no old business. We-
The
How
only
about the
thing I
minutes
do
from
know is
November?
The 125, 135 Elm Street application that was before us, that we sent back to the planning board for them to do the secret determination. I haven't heard anything, that the secret was resolved, so as of now, they're not being scheduled for our next agenda.
How about the minutes from November?
We approved those at the last meeting.
Oh, we did. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I was
'Cause
looking
we
at
weren't
the
there.
email. Oh, right.
That's why.
Okay, new business, we have no new applications that came in, right?
None?
And the only other new business is again to welcome Christine as our new ZBA clerk. and
Welcome, welcome.
she'll come up to speed,
All right.
in due time.
Motion to adjourn?
One
Sorry.
question, so,
Take it easy.
one question is, let's get this resolved.
Oh.
In terms of applications that come in, how many members want a physical copy of the application mailed
I
to
would
them?
prefer a physical copy.
Absolutely, without question.
I don't know how it gets there, but I prefer a physical copy.
I'm one step above a Luddite.
Yeah, I mean, I print them out and I print out the things, okay, so.
Whatever makes your life easier is fine with me.
Yeah.
So mail applications to Elizabeth
Yes, please.
But I also like the fact that I know if
Dan?
I can, yeah,
and John Ilstrap,
it's accessible on the
okay?
cloud or something.
You're okay with digital copy?
Yes.
Me too. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
All right. So when they come in, you're just gonna have to now put them in envelopes and address them and ship them off.
But I would also like an email well, because sometimes I might not have it in front of me and I'm out someplace and I want to look at it, so.
Yes. Well, we'll email them to everybody.
Yeah, good.
And we'll do an additional mailing of these applications.
All right, thank you.
Okay? So that'll take care of that. Anything else? Okay. Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Show us adjourned at 9:30.
Exactly, well, look at that.
All right.
This is very
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.